What is going on, horror fans? We're back with Scream Fanatic, and in today's video, I wanted to talk about Scream 5 and Scream 6, and the title of this video will be called Why Scream 5 Worked and Why Scream 6 Didn't. Now, I love both movies, Scream 2022 and Scream VI. Okay, I've watched both countless times. But I was very disappointed in the sixth installment. It took for me to watch it a couple of times for me to warm up to the movie and for it to grow on me. Whereas when I saw Scream 5, I loved it right away. And I will explain why. So let's start with Scream 2022. So Scream 2022 is your first ever Scream movie in 11 years. Half a decade. Like, you didn't even know at this point if we would ever see another Scream movie since Scream 4 in 2011. But then it gets announced probably in 2021 that there's going to be a new Scream movie. Or maybe it's been in the works since 2020. I'm not quite sure. But it finally comes out and it's a fresh start, right? Fresh faces, new lead characters like Sam, Tara, Chad, and Mindy, Liv and Wes, even though they die off, and Amber and Richie, even though they turned out to be the killers. Still a new set of characters that stand out, that matter, to kick off the first Scream movie in forever. Now, of course, we had the return of three core characters who kicked off this franchise, 29, almost 30 years ago. Sidney Prescott, Gale Weathers, and Dewey Riley, right? I think his last name is Riley. They were in it, but they sort of served as kind of side characters, background characters. Dewey didn't play a big role and he died. Gale didn't really show up till like maybe the middle point of the movie, and then Sidney showed up at like the very end. So it wasn't really their movie, right? They were legacy characters, but they weren't the main characters, right? And you could kind of get away with that, right? Because it seemed to me like they were trying to build a new trilogy until, of course, Melissa and Jenna both left Scream 7. And they had to completely scrap the ideas for what they were originally going to do, what was originally about to happen. But Scream 5, what I loved about this movie is it didn't try too hard to be something that, it's not. You know what I mean? They didn't overly promote this movie. I don't remember this movie getting a lot of promotion. I feel like when this movie came out, it was like a last minute surprise when like the first trailer dropped. Or maybe there was some big grand announcement like a year prior that I just didn't know about. Maybe I was under a rock, but I don't think there was a big announcement. I don't think they over promoted this movie or tried to hype it up like this is going to be some groundbreaking new Scream movie. I just think the idea was that, hey guys, we're putting out a new Scream movie with new characters, and I hope you guys enjoy, right? And I feel like that is what the purpose of this movie was. It was simple, and it was being itself, and it was being authentic. Now, you can make the argument that this was a bit of a carbon copy of, Scream 1996, which in a way it kind of was, because the final act took place in Stu Macher's house. The twist, the third act reveal of the main Ghostface, Amber and Richie, was kind of identical to the twist and reveal of Billy and Stu being the Ghostface killers. So I get that, but I feel like this movie could kind of afford to get away with sort of following similar tropes to Scream 1. And the reason why I think that is because I just think, the writers of Scream 5 were trying to pay respect to the original by sort of following a similar formula. And the whole main plot and the motive behind Amber and Richie, they basically were trying to recreate the ending of Stab 1, but in their own twisted version where the bad guys win. So that's also why you could kind of get away with repeating a lot of what we already saw in Scream 1996, because that's what the villains were intending to do. And I also think the writers were sort of trying to, give us a reminder of this is what happened back then, And I think they just kind of wanted to give us like a modernized version of the original events, but in the 2020s now instead of the 1990s. But what I will say, that is something that I feel can only work once. And this is my problem with Scream 6, which I'm going to get into very soon, but I still have a bit more to say, about Scream 5, because there's just so much to like about this movie, right? It's simple, it's fun, and I remember when I was watching this in the theaters, I had fun. I didn't have any high expectations whatsoever, okay? I enjoyed every scene where Ghostface popped up and was attacking somebody, and, Sam, Tara, Wes, who didn't make it, were all fighting for their lives. I really enjoyed the final act twist when Amber came out. I didn't enjoy watching Dewey Riley die. That broke my heart, but this movie was like just a fun ride. It was a movie where you could simply take whatever comes and just be happy and grateful with it. And that's how I truly felt. And I really enjoyed watching the legacy characters come back and team up with like the new generation of who were supposed to be the future of the franchise before they got written out. It was really cool to see Sidney come back and, give guidance to Sam and Tara, and Gail and Sidney helped take down Richie and Amber. It was just great. It was great. I walked away from that movie thinking like, all right, this movie, it hit for me. And I would give Scream 2022 a solid 7.5 out of 10. Now, getting into the sixth installment of Scream, and where I think this franchise went wrong is it was a try-hard movie, right? It was trying too hard to be bigger than what it really was. And the whole theme of the promotion was, you've never seen a Ghostface like this. There's never been another Scream movie like this. Like, do you remember when people were saying that? Even I think Kirby in the trailers, like, there's never been a Ghostface like this. And you know what? I was buying it. I was buying what they were selling. You had Ghostface holding a rifle. When have you ever seen Ghostface use a gun? So I was like very curious, like, ooh, who's behind the mask? Is this like maybe like an ex-military soldier or Navy soldier who lost his mind and now has become a killer? Like, I was very interested to see what direction they were heading in with this movie. Then when it comes out, it turned out to be your typical everyday Scream movie. And not just that, it was a direct copy of Scream 1997, Scream 2. And like I said, this could only work once. But I feel like there's a fine line between, okay, paying respect to, the original movie, giving a soft reminder and then pushing it, overstaying your welcome. Because now, with, them trying to create a new trilogy, it's time to sort of be original, right? You already gave us a soft reminder of what happened in 1996. It's time for something new. And they gave us the events of 1997, but in 2023. Because guess what? Richie Kirsch was Billy Loomis, and Wayne Bailey was Nancy Loomis, and, Quinn and Ethan were Nancy Loomis extended. That's really what it felt like. They repeated the exact same storyline of angry family member comes back to avenge the ghost face of the prior movie. And it's like, really? That's what this has been about this whole freaking time? Like, we've already seen this and we don't need to see it again. And if this is what they were always planning and building to, I'm not saying, well, just reveal it in the promos, but don't try to gas this movie up like it's going to be some generational groundbreaking Scream movie, because it wasn't. Now, of course, yes, it was very edgy. Yes, there was a lot of chase scenes, but this Ghostface didn't feel any different than any other Ghostface we've seen. The only thing that was different about this Scream movie is they showed like gut spilling from, people being gutted, like they showed Jason's intestines coming out. That was like a new added detail. But other than that, it was nothing special. right? And I didn't really fully respect or care for Richie as a Ghostface. I cared more about Amber, so I didn't like the fact that they were milking the hell out of Richie's legacy going into this movie. I wanted a fresh start, a fresh Ghostface that had nothing to do with the legacy of Richie Kirsch. Because Richie, he's not that important to me. He's not that important to the franchise. He ain't no Billy Loomis. He shouldn't have got that level of Billy Loomis respect. And I just don't care about his family. You know, I waited the entire movie to see who's going to be behind the mask. And when I saw that, oh, Wayne was in on it this whole time, and then Quinn unmasks herself, and then freaking Ethan unmasks himself, I'm like, are you serious? It's them of all people? That's another thing about this movie. The letdown of the killer reveal is really what it couldn't work for me. I couldn't accept Ethan as a ghost face or Quinn as a ghost face or Wayne Bailey as a ghost face. And overall, I just couldn't accept that they followed the exact same formula as Scream 2. That just don't work for me. I wish there was a different killer with an entirely new motive, okay? Someone that actually has more aura, someone who's actually intimidating, someone who's actually respectable. And I wish what I thought about the ghost face with the rifle was what I actually thought it was. You know, I wish I thought it was some soldier who came to New York and donned the mask and had some new and unique motive. Because seeing a ghost face with a gun, it showed me, okay, Ghostface is actually evolving. That's what I thought going into the sixth movie, and it turned out, no, this Ghostface is like many other Ghostfaces we've seen throughout countless movies. Either a Ghostface wants fame, wants to make a new movie, or wants revenge. Wash, rinse, and repeat for like the last 30 years. So hopefully Scream 7 gives us something different, which I think they will. But yeah, that's why this movie for me was just ultimately disappointing. And I think it would have been better off if they didn't, you know, give false advertisement in the buildup. If they were just authentic to what it was or what they were, or what they were trying to be, right? Then I could accept it on the first watch. I might think, yeah, it's a carbon copy of Scream 2, but it's not trying to be something bigger. It's not acting like it was going to be something bigger. It is what it is and what it's presenting itself to be, like Scream 5. Now, one thing I will say is earlier on in the movie, I feel like they had potential with a really good formula, because initially it seemed like the direction they were heading in was Sam Carpenter gets framed as the villain of, you know, the 2022 Woodsboro murders, and Richie Kirsch is like the hero and the victim, and everyone hates Sam Carpenter, right? The court of public opinion is against Sam Carpenter. I actually really like that. I'm like, okay, I'm very interested to see how Sam is sort of gonna, I guess, get the truth on her direction, how she's gonna, you know, reveal the truth. And I was wondering sort of who was behind these rumors, right? And when I found out that, oh, it was just Richie's family who fabricated these rumors and the lies to the public, it felt disappointing. I feel like it would have been better if it was someone else entirely, if it was someone original, if it was some, you know, secret villain that we don't know about that had some kind of vendetta against Sam and wanted to frame her as the bad guy, right? I feel like that would have been way cooler, because then it wouldn't have been like a carbon copy of Scream 2. It would have felt like something else entirely. It would have felt like Scream 6 on its own. But yeah, Scream 6, I feel like it had a lot of potential and it could have been better than what it was. And I feel like they dropped the ball. I feel like the creators, they dropped the ball. Also, I thought it was ridiculous. It felt like this movie literally had no stakes, almost no consequences. There was like literally 0 deaths. Like almost everyone who mattered survived. Chad Meeks should have been dead and somehow survives getting stabbed 1,000,000 times. Like when that scene where he was getting stabbed up by Ethan and Quinn and was on his knees and told Tara to run, that should have been like a heroic sacrifice. Like he doesn't make it. But of course he gets to freaking survive. Mindy gets to survive, right? I feel like this movie should have had a death of an important character, because we got a death of Randy Meeks, that's his name, right? In Scream 2, he dies. Dewey eventually dies somewhere down the line. We've seen a lot of big names get killed off throughout the franchise. And I feel like the creators of 6 didn't really have the balls to give us a major death in this movie, which I also thought kind of made it corny. And I'm not saying everyone needed to die, but someone should have died. Like Gail, I thought she was dead originally, like at first, and that would have sucked. And I'm kind of glad she didn't, because I feel like we do need her for Scream 6, because I do think that Stu attacked her and killed her lover, Dewey. So I feel like she needs to come face to face with Stu for an ultimate rematch. But still, that wouldn't have been a horrible death. Chad wouldn't have been a horrible death, right? Mindy wouldn't have been a horrible death. And I feel like when a movie has low stakes or no consequences, it's almost like, well, then what was the point of all that? I feel like the writers were going way too easy on this movie. I mean, of course, Annika died, but that wasn't really like an important death. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Scream 6 for me, I will say, was an ultimate, like, 6 out of 10, maybe. Like, so that's one rank behind, or one rating lower than Scream 5. Because it's not a bad movie, but it's not a great movie either. Like, it was not a blockbuster hit like it was pretending to be in the build-up. So yeah, that is why I think Scream 5 worked personally for me, and in general, objectively, and why, you know, Scream 6 didn't. But let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. Do you guys agree with my take? I know a lot of people love Scream 6. Me personally, I did like it. You know, and I watched it countless times once I adapted and accepted the movie for what it was. But there's a reason why the first watch wasn't it for me, and it took some adjusting. But like and subscribe and stay tuned for more Scream content.